as you can tell, what's in the middle of a business model canvas? Well, it's the value proposition, right? What is your company's value proposition? At the essence of it all, what is the value you are creating for, and all the way on the right-hand side, your customer segments, right? So what value are you creating for your customer segments on the right? So the value proposition, you'll just need to fill in, right? What is the true value prop you're creating, and how is it serving your customer segments, right? So your customer segments are the people you're servicing, right? Or what your product is for, right? And there can be a main segment, and then there can be additional segments, right? But this needs to be clearly identified. A lot of cases, some people miss out on their true customer segments because their industry is multidimensional, right? You're not only serving the end user, but then you're also serving for example, for hotels, you're serving the owner of that hotel, right? Or owners of hotels, but also guests of hotels that are staying in the hotels, right? So that's a dynamic role, because if you're a hospitality tech provider, you need to be adding value to the hotel owner, but you may have a piece of the puzzle that also directly relates to what value you're adding to the guests, right? The end user. So, for example, it may be a technology that you use to do a holistic travel pattern in terms of activities that people can do when they come to hotels, and then how does that integrate with the hotel sort of front-facing software in terms of booking it. So that you're serving people who will be implementing your technology at their hotels, but then people who would be using your product to actually do activities and adventures, right? So again, just hypothetical. And so that's customer segments, right? And then the most important part then is how are we selling our value prop to our customer segment? Obviously, the best way, and I deeply am rooted in this, is let your customers be brand ambassadors, right? That's the multiplier effect. That's empowering your customers to be brand ambassadors. But we'll get into that probably later. So the sales channels, right? They may be very black and white, the typical sales channels, but I would like you to think, what other ways can we sell to our customer segment our value proposition? If our value proposition is a real value prop, the selling part should be easy. Obviously, there's a time cycle for sales, and that's just how business works. But what are the sales channels to reach your customer segments, right? And then how are you communicating with your customer segments, right? There's obviously in today's day and age various distributions for communicating, right? I mean, all of a sudden Instagram and all that are selling products and services now, right? And discovery, right? That's a very important word, right? People are now using these, and Facebook is a perfect example. They're getting their news, they're getting things that they like, popping up on their feed, and that's a communication channel, right? So and discovery, right? So how are we going to show a sense of discovery to our customers? And then most important is customer lifetime value, right? Customer relationships on the upper right hand corner. How are we building the customer relationship in order to convert them to a more long-term customer lifetime value, right? So that's where this comes in, right? They can be qualitative, they can be quantitative, they can be psychographic in nature. I mean, emotional, deep-rooted, just tangible, monetary benefits. So these are customer relationships. What are we doing in order to build a stronger customer relationship with our customer segment, right? For example, Starbucks is a great example, right? What did they do, right? How did they start building a relationship? Well, they actually created the third space, right? That space away from home and work, the third space. And that's how they built this huge customer relationship, right? Because they were curating that space where people were meeting, reading, working from. And that is a customer relationship tool they use, right? They use physical assets.